Hi, this is a placeholder video, so watch it quickly before it disappears. I did the maths and I worked out that if I was to script and shoot all of the videos that I wanted to shoot for this course, then the student I initially wanted to shoot them for wouldn't actually be able to watch them all before it was time for them to submit their final project. So I'd already worked out pretty early on that I should feature other photographers' photographs rather than shooting every illustrating photograph myself. But then I realised that I could do the same with videos. You see, it's not like biotech, for example, where you might struggle to find a good biochemical engineer who also happens to be good at videography and is comfortable in front of the lens, as comfortable as they are behind it. Most photographers can become pretty good videographers with very little upskilling, and lots of them are very happy in front of the camera. So there are millions of photography videos already on YouTube. All I really need to do is find the best ones to explain all the concepts needed for this course. Unfortunately, some are pretty bad, and I actually really struggled with the first one that I wanted, as I couldn't find one that I was 100% happy with. But many of the others were much better than I was planning on doing anyway. So I'll perhaps just cheekily explain how I would have done things differently between each video, if I would have done them differently, while I also set you a little exercise to do before you watch the next one. Now, if you're a photography teacher helping me out, thank you, by checking if I've missed anything or misexplained anything, please do add comments to my videos, not the ones that other people have produced, to let me know if there's anything missing or misexplained in their videos, or indeed mine, that we need to include in this playlist. So if you're watching as a learner, and anything doesn't make sense, the same goes. Please add a comment in one of my videos about the video that you didn't understand, and I'll try to explain it. I'm pretty thick-skinned and I don't mind negative comments. You can add as nasty comments as you like about me and my work, as long as you keep them clean, otherwise I'll delete them. But the last thing I want to do is to encourage people to be criticising other creators' videos. They've put a lot of time into them, and yeah, it's not very nice. So, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce my good friend Think. Mr. Media and I go way back. Actually, I've never met him. But you might be wondering why I've had this video of Think up through this entire video. Good point. Well, the main answer is that I want you to know what he looks like. I want you to remember what he looks like. That's because the first time I saw him through a 20mm lens, just like you will. Now you're soon going to understand that this is a wide-angle lens. And he's a much better looking chap than me, so he pulled it off pretty nicely. Now, you're used to watching me at a focal length of 115mm. That's what we're using now, and it's quite a flattering angle on a full-frame 35mm sensor. Don't worry, this should all make sense once you've actually watched Think's video. But this is what I look like if I was shooting this at 12mm. I'm horrendous. I know I wasn't pretty in the first place, but my nose is now even more massive and my ears are tiny. Not at all a good look. Anyway, Think manages to pull off 20mm on what I assume is an APS-C sensor, which would be 30mm on my full frame. Again, don't worry about all this if you don't get it. He's going to explain everything very shortly. But because you're then used to seeing him that way, when he tries to show you what 11mm looks like, you're probably thinking, that's not too bad. The other thing to point out is that the problem here isn't actually the lens. Now, many people think that wide-angle lenses are bad for headshots because they distort the image. My favourite lens I ever owned was a 24mm, and I assure you it had virtually no distortion. But if I shot this video with it, and I had my head this size in the frame, I'd still look awful. No, it's not the lens distortion that makes professional portrait photographers pick like 85mm and longer lenses for headshots. It's perspective distortion. Look at my hand. It's not that big, it's a bit smaller than my head, right? Now I'm going to keep the same camera lens and 115mm focal length now, and I'm going to move closer. Hang on, I've just got to get round my desk first. See how my hand gets bigger? Now, let's cut back to me in my usual spot. My hand got bigger because, relative to my head, it's much closer to the camera. This is perspective distortion. So what makes long lenses more flattering in portraiture is that you can get further away from the subject. So my ears and nose are relatively close to each other compared with their distance from the camera. So you get less perspective distortion. Does that make sense? Do let me know if it doesn't, as I should really reshoot this video, and I can try harder to explain perspective distortion then. One other little thing that I'd like to say to perfect Think's video is when he gets to this bit, just for this section, every time he says aperture, I'd like you to shout maximum aperture at the screen. Okay, if you're in a public, you can shout maximum aperture in your head, but every time he says aperture, but only do it during just this section. If it still doesn't make sense, please come back to this video. In fact, try watching it a few times doing that whole maximum aperture thing. Make sure that, yeah, he means maximum aperture just in that section when he says aperture, right? So come back to this video anyway, give us some comments to let me know if it's still not making sense, and I'll produce another video to explain. So now, off you go and watch Think's video immediately, right? I'm afraid you can't have a break. Or if you can't watch it immediately, then what I'd like you to do is come back and watch this video again straight before watching his. Second time, you can focus on this photo of him though, because that's the important bit. This is to let you know, get your brain thinking what he actually looks like in real life, assuming you're not standing too close to him or watching through a 20mm lens. Oh, and straight after watching his video, do watch my next one where I'll highlight the most important lenses, well, the most important lenses that you need to know about for this course anyway, and I'll give you a fun exercise on lens choice. See you soon, and say hi to Think for me.